The following is a transcript between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am, originally recorded on November 4th, 2020, under the constellation of Scorpio, examining through the mental week and the throat chakra. Me, in bad weather, good face. The phrase came to mind today, and I thought about it because of the post I made yesterday on social media. These are the presidential elections in the United States, and in a certain way, they are the elections that affect all of us, not only the Americans, since it is the country that intervenes in the decisions of all international organizations. My publication was in relation to the systems used in the country to hold elections, and several of the reactions of the people had nothing to do with what I had published. On the one hand, I realized what always happens, a great lack of reading comprehension. Most do not pay attention to the words and the syntax between them, and the reactions are directed proportionally to what they see in the media. I am conflict. Me, yes, conflict. Why do we humans seek conflict before understanding what the other is exposing? I am because we need to evolve. Yesterday, we talked about suffering and the origin of this word. In order for a human to awaken the greatest capacity in his sensory potential in matter, he needs the pressure of the environment. It is like when a superhuman force arrives in a mother or father when they see their children in danger, because the adrenaline is propelled to each muscle, giving it extraordinary power, in which the mind does not play a main role, but in the other senses, which are sharpened to such an extent that reactions are more intuitive than calculated. In fewer words, the pressure, the suffering, takes all the cells out of their comfort state. The biological body, like everything organic, seeks to save energy, and for this reason, it tries to remain sedentary as long as possible, saving energy for really useful moments. Me, what is conflict? I am. It comes from the Latin con and fligere, which means conjunction of blows, that is, squeeze, crush, oppress. Conflict speaks of the pressure exerted by the environment on an object or subject. This pressure generates a reaction, which can be harmonic if you are in consciousness or chaotic if you live from unconsciousness. Me, how do you live the conflict from unconscious? I am. Unconsciousness is moving through currents, which can be physical or conceptual. At atmospheric pressure, a cold current descends, collapsing with a warm current. This generates wind. And if the atmospheric pressure is very strong, the clash of the opposing currents tries to find harmony, looking for the way back to its place, generating spirals, therefore creating tornadoes and hurricanes. The same thing happens in the oceans with waterspouts. Anything in between will be swept away by these currents. Trees, houses, everything that has a little grip on the ground will fly. At the social level, a person without their own foundation, without being in their center, without clear roots, will be swept away by the currents of external thought. You can call the cold current as blue color and the warm current as red color, just like a thermometer. By not having your feet steady, every external wind will drag you along with its currents, and when you collide with the opposite current, there will be so much pressure that it will generate conflict and force. The blows will be mutual in an incessant fight. Me, and how do you stop that fight? I am. Is a hurricane bad for nature? Me, well, it damages the environment. I don't think it's bad for nature. I am. Why? Me, as far as I know, it will help generate the temperature of the planet. When the surface of the biosphere overheats, it can be harmful to many species. Low pressure, lack of oxygenation, embolism. So the planet has its own air conditioning system, tornadoes, hurricanes, which bring cold air from the atmosphere to the surface of the planet, oxygenating the biosphere. Normally, hot air rises and cold air falls, so the hot air accumulates due to the atmospheric pressure, which would be as if the roof of the house lowered a little, and the heat remains close to the ground, and to remove it, a fan, which shakes everything. So you would agree that what you see here as a conflict was actually a solution. Me, sure, yeah. Seen this way, the conflict has a purpose. It has everything. The conflict is nothing more than the clash of two forces, one positive and one negative, that has been accumulating in one place, in a corner, and now it is time to remove them in order to generate something new. The conflict then awakens the potential of both parties since, in essence, outside of forms, positive and negative, can only create by interacting. Thus, from unconsciousness, the creatures and the entities of nature continue to manifest the impulse generated by the cosmos, a creative impulse, but at the same time chaotic. The pressure of the environment generates the awakening of internal capacities, and with it, evolution. Me. In other words, the key to evolution is conflict, because only through it can we discover that it is necessary to solve a problem and transform ourselves to adapt and transcend it. That's when conflict has a purpose. Me. And when is conflict conscious and harmonious? The tree spreads firm roots. It settles. It knows where it belongs. It knows that it does not follow any current, but it also knows that it cannot expand its essence while being fixed. So it evolves to benefit from the conflict, designing flowers, which will contain pollen, designing fruits that will contain seeds and develop their flowers and seeds in a flexible and aeronautical way so that the wind carries them. The maple, for example, designed a seed system that appears to have wings like a dragonfly. Thus, the wind rips them from the tree and they begin to fly like a helicopter moving away, finding new land to take root. El Diente de Leon has designed a planting system thanks to the wind. In the ovary or the receptacle of the seeds are the achnades from which the hairs of the pappus arises, elongated, white formations that look like the skeleton of an umbrella turned upside down. The wind loosens the achnades from the flower's receptacle, and then it flies away with the currents to spread their seeds over the lands they could not otherwise reach. Me. In other words, it adapted to use the wind at its mercy for its own benefit without being affected by the wind and its currents, making a profit from the conflict, evolution, and expansion. But both systems inevitably utilize conflict, for they are all expressions of biology. Me. So what would it be like to not get into a conflict? Get out of biology and find the essence. There, from the infinite contemplation, all forces are equal to zero. All perceptions are part of the synapsis that gestates the great cosmic mind. There, the energy is neither positive nor negative. It simply is. It coexists in neutrality, and there is no pulse or impulse. There is no action or reaction. Therefore, you will call the energy that previously pressed and pushed love, the force that pressed with the intention of its condition, becomes unconditional. Me. But it's almost impossible. Sure. Me. So, I don't understand. Why look for unconditional love if it's impossible to live from absolute neutrality on earth? Where do you do things from? Me. You mean, what is the initial intention? Sure. Do you have things based on what you see outside or based on what you have inside? Me. Well, I guess I should do from what I have inside of me, so I take action instead of reacting. And so you know what you have inside. Me, I must go inside, know myself, know all my internal conflicts, understand myself, heal, find harmony, and from there, act. I am. So in order to transform the external world and its conflicts, you must first know if you do it from the chaotic reaction of the reflections of the external world or from the harmonic understanding of your internal world. This is how meditation and philosophy are the basis for politics and civilization. The philosophical is the basis of the pragmatic. Me. That's what I wanted to ask you. Because many times I feel that we begin to philosophize about the universe and how to understand metaphysical concepts. Everything remains a dream, but it's not practical. I've heard people say to me, one day you will have to take sides and talk about politics and be practical. Something that I often feel, but at the same time, I feel that this is just not how it should be. The mistake is believing that speaking is taking sides. Party is that parting, dividing, parting the path between origin and destination. Humans believe that in order to act, it is necessary to position yourself on one side or the other. This makes you experience conflict in a polarized way, looking for enemies in every corner, in every stream. If you react to the world, you will only become a reaction to the world. But if you act in the world, you will transform it. And to act, you have to go deeper, not to the people, not to the individuals, not to the ideologies, or what you believe of one or the other, but to the real conflicts. In order to act from the essence, you must go to the essence. You must understand how things work. You can't fight enemies if you don't understand duality. You can't fight lies if you don't understand the law of vibration. You cannot ask for justice if you do not live in balance. You cannot project a better world if you do not understand that you are the world. To act with wisdom, you must convert knowledge into love. That is, in Greek, it's said, philoso, or Sophie, love of wisdom, philosophy. Me, if I don't find philosophy and meditation and abstraction, I will continue to be the reaction of the world around me, polarizing myself in parts, in the parties. When the tree and the flower discover their essence, they will wake up using the world from harmony, sowing seeds, without taking sides. Being in himself, his essence creates seeds that will germinate throughout the world. Me, sowing a new humanity, a slogan of the Arsayian Foundation. Today, I understood it more clearly. This is why your teachers and guides have always told you from ideology to biology, because it's the ideas that lie in the philosophy that must be applied into the physical world according to the laws of the physical and biological world, which is the spirit design. This is why they have told you that you must first nurture the abstractism of the spirit in order to work the ground of the concrete. For the world of forms is born from the world of ideas. The external is born from the internal. And if you don't face the inner world, you can never transform the outer world. So ask yourself, what are your conflicts? Me. What I see is that when we speak from philosophy, everyone feels happy. And when we start talking about the concrete, about our social and political reality, etc., the battles start to break out, the conflicts. So maybe it's time to rise these inconsistencies, because only then will we be able to discover who looks inward to transform the world, who flourishes, and who is swept along by the currents of conflict. Me. Does what you're telling me imply that we will continue talking about controversial issues? Is there a better month for it? We will not go to the battles because they do not belong to us, but we will go to the wounds, to the reactionary bosses. Conflicts are the key to evolution, but it is the decision of the individual's consciousness to decide if he will use them to impose himself from reaction or transform from action. Me. How do we know the difference? Because many of us may be thinking that transformation from action is fighting against someone or something. I am. Imposing from the reaction is when a being considers that his point of view is the only acceptable one, and that therefore the other is wrong. He becomes polarized. Transforming from action is when a being acts from example and seeks third-party solutions to the partisan conflicts, originating something new and original. He does not position himself against anyone, but he is ready to solve everyone's problems. Me, difficult. I am, but possible. It's called evolution. Go inside, discover your own conflicts. You will know in which you reflect outside. Thus, you will be free from the dual reaction to act in harmony.